Thanks, Ian.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
So our next presenter believes that cloud is the key to a seamless experience that consumers are demanding today. Razorfish is a digital agency that solves the challenges of bridging the gap between digital and the physical world by using Rackspace Managed Cloud and Rackspace for Digital. And here's a quick video on Razorfish to give you a little bit more detail on that.
At Razorfish, one of the main things that we solve for our customers is how to bridge the physical-digital divide. What that really means is helping customers, our clients, figure out how to make themselves most relevant to the customer, whether it is on a mobile device, on a tablet, on a kiosk, or any other touch device. Everyone is wrestling with the same challenge. What do we do about our digital experience? What do we do about our physical experience? We need to operate on the terms of the customer, and that transcends the digital and the physical world. So what you want to be able to do is, if someone comes into your store, you want to be able to provide an experience and interact with the customer before they come in, while they're in your store, and after they leave. When it comes to the cloud, Rackspace and Razorfish work together. One of the benefits of partnering with Rackspace is that Rackspace can help the client figure out, how do we go about doing this? What can we have managed by Rackspace, and what do we need to still maintain within our own company walls? And that's a bit of a balancing act, because sometimes there are certain things that need to be housed locally on premise for PCI considerations or HIPAA compliance, but there may be a lot more information that could be stored somewhere else and can be managed by someone else far more cost effectively. So those are some of the things that Rackspace can help solve for the company, and Razorfish can help solve what's the right experience for your customers, whether they're in the physical world or the digital world.
So please welcome the Senior Director of Client Engagement at Razorfish, Dan Israel. Dan.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I have some questions. I'm going to make this a little bit interactive. How many people here have kids? All right. How many people use their tablet and use their smartphone as a pacifier? Because I do that quite frequently. Even though my son turns 9 today, I'm still using it as that. I saw a video a couple of years ago that I thought really epitomized how user experience has evolved, and really how intuitive user experience is today on technical devices such as a smartphone and tablets. So let's take a look at this, and you'll see what I mean. This child isn't more than a year old, and they already know how to manage, how to use a touch experience. This is what they expect. So what I want to talk about next is really, let's talk about the evolution of how the physical and digital worlds interact today. You know, when the heyday of the internet was going on, it was all about digital would supplant the physical space. You know, we had pets.com shooting hamsters through a cannon, was going to get rid of PetSmart. We had all these new companies coming out that were supposed to, disintermediate all these companies. That didn't really happen, right? The next iteration was having them coexist, where you had online-only companies that now would compete against a physical store that also had an online presence. But what was interesting is that the databases, the inventories, would be separate. So you might run into problems where if you bought something online from a company, you might find out that the physical store doesn't even carry that, and you can't return it, or you can't, pick it up in the store. So the Boris and the BOPIS, the buy online, return in store, the buy online, pay online, all that stuff wasn't working. So then we had the next iteration, which is really where we are today. We first started in the late 1990s, going to the mid 2000s. Today, it's where the physical world really is a function of the virtual world. And what I mean by that is if you think about having a fixed space, that's still relevant. Whether it's with the Arab Spring with Tahrir Square, whether it is the Hong Kong protesters in Civic Square, or whether it's me and my wife going to Bloomingdale's to look for a suit. We still have a physical presence that matters. But what's happened is that the digital world is really an overlay to that. And finding out where to gather for a protest, or finding out that the Friends and Family sale is going to be starting Wednesday through Sunday, we're finding out from the digital world, and that's influencing what we do in the physical space. So I said I was going to make this a little interactive. I have something that I call the face index. The face index is really, using that as a proxy for you using your smartphone device. So can anyone give me a guess? Just let me know what you think. How many times do you think that we touch our face? Just give me any sort of frequency that you think. Anyone? And for the winner, I'll either give you a Post-it note or I'll give you some sunglasses so you can touch your face some more. 3,000 times a day. That's a little high. Close. That's not too far, but man, I didn't think you guys were going to guess that high. Okay, I want to give something away, so no. Wait, I heard 200. Well, who is 200? That was close. There are no lawyers in the room, right? I'm going to throw this. So who said it? I can't see too well, but someone throw it out there. So, sorry. So, in reality, the face index, we touch our face once every 3 minutes, and this is habitual. This is something that we do whether we are doing it out of purpose or doing it just subconsciously. And that turns into about 300 times a day. So 300 times a day, knowingly or unknowingly, we're touching our face. Let's talk about what's happening on the phone. Would anyone like to take a guess in 2010 how many times we're interacting with their device? And when I say interacting with the device, I'm talking about checking for messages, text, going on the internet, playing with Facebook. Anyone want to give me some numbers? And I'll try to do a better throw this time. How many? No. I wasn't talking about the typing piece. Does anyone else want to give a guess? 60. Who said 60? All right. Do you want Post-it notes or sunglasses? All right. Let me try one more time. If this doesn't go, I'm not going to throw anything else. All right. It's not so good. Okay, so in reality, what happened in 2010, we were interacting with our device 40 times a day. That's what an SVP from MasterCard stated. What's happening today, according to The Economist magazine, we're spending 2 hours a day on our smartphone device, which generally has been about 150 times a day. So if you think about it, compared to the face index, we are approaching to what is becoming more of a habit. You think about how much, it's become habitual. As soon as you get in an elevator, you're pulling out your smartphone. As soon as you go up an escalator, you pull out your smartphone. And I dare say, as soon as you go toward the bathroom, you're pulling out your smartphone. I would really be curious what the transactions are on Amazon during that, but we don't go there. So what I'm getting at here is as we get closer to the face index, we really need experiences to be seamless. We need the ability for people to pick up where they left off somewhere else before. And as we think about mobile traffic, this is another one where I am curious what people think. What percentage of mobile traffic do you think comes from cloud-based applications? Anyone want to take some guesses? I heard 70, 80. All right, that much better than I expected, but is 82% of all mobile traffic on is coming from a cloud-based application. In a lot of respects, that makes sense. You know, you have Facebook, you have email, you have so many things that you're used to using, whether it's Waze, etc. It's all cloud-based, and this is only going to increase. And the estimate is that by 2018, this number is going to go up to 90%. So we already have over 4/5 of traffic going, coming in from cloud-based applications. So why should you care? Well, we have a panoply of devices that are now connecting to the internet or are using technologies like BLE or Wi-Fi to connect to the internet. So as more and more devices are gathering, you need to be able to figure out how do we handle that? How do we provide that seamless experience? One that I really like to use is Evernote. Full disclosure, Razorfish does not have a relationship with Evernote. Rackspace does not have a relationship with Evernote. However, I am an Evernote junkie. I do everything on Evernote. I take meeting notes on it. I clip things from the web, etc. What Evernote does beautifully is they are able to seamlessly let you pick up the information from somewhere else. I could go on my mobile device right now, open up my Evernote account, type in a quick note, or even take a selfie of me with you guys, but that's passé now, and then go to my tablet and actually see that within seconds. That's what a seamless experience is. But let's not forget another item here, which is you need to make sure that your experience is optimized for whatever medium the customer is coming in on. I actually take note to what media companies are doing, in particular ABC News, and you know, we do not have a relationship. Razorfish does not have a relationship with ABC News. To my knowledge, Rackspace does not either. But what ABC News really did is they got in the head of their consumers and they understood how they interact with their brand. So when it's a tablet, it's much more immersive. You spend 40 minutes on a per session, usually at night. When you have a smartphone, it's snippets of information that you want. So what they did is the experience they optimized, all the content is going to be video-based when you're on a tablet. If they know you're coming in from a smartphone, it's text-based because they know that your goal is to just get snippets of information. And the Evernote piece, it's important because you need to create a seamless experience. The ABC News piece is about optimizing experience so that way you're providing relevant information in the context desired on the medium that your customers are coming in on. So do you really think you don't need a cloud strategy at this point? Based on everything that we've done in terms of talking about the phase that we're in now, where the digital really influences what goes on in the physical space instead of vice versa, where we see the number of mobile cloud applications coming into play, the plethora of devices, etc. So for so many of the companies, this is all great. These are neat stats. You might have liked my face index, and hopefully I didn't hurt anybody throwing objects out. But a starting point is, ask some basic questions. And business objectives, it sounds very mundane, but at the end of the day, to really create something that's going to get traction within your organization, understanding what the objectives are, what moves the needle within your company, and quite frankly, what are the incentives for different stakeholders within your company. And once you determine that, then we can start mapping out what we need to achieve. The second piece is really getting a technology due diligence completed. What I mean by that is really understanding, what assets do you have available, what APIs do you have that you can pull the content, and what do you need to have in place down the road. At the end of the day, the technology will help dictate what we do in number 3, which is what experiences do we want to present to consumers, and what content do we want to curate for our most valuable customers. And what we really want to do, and this is what Razorfish does, is really help you create that roadmap for what experiences we want to present to customers and overlay that based upon what technology we have in place. So now we can have a phased approach in terms of what we want to provide. So why Razorfish and why Rackspace? We can help you right-size a solution. As I said, we want to make sure that we get the right infrastructure in place, and we also want to make sure that we get a roadmap in place so that way you're not throwing money into a pit, but you're actually providing a plan that's going to help augment your sales because you're going to provide the right experience optimized on the platform or the medium that someone's coming in on. So we want to, which leads to the second point, making you as the company relevant to your customers because you've got the right technology in place, the right infrastructure in place, and then finally figuring out, optimally, is it better to have the certain pieces, certain components of the technology solution managed by Rackspace or managed internally? And at the end of the day, we really want to help you think holistically about your customers. We want to be able to let you connect with the customers however they want, whatever device they want, be contextually relevant, and be relevant before, during, and after any potential engagement. So the two big takeaways, and you may have heard this before, but I really can't stress this enough because with the number of customers that I've interacted with, we have this challenge of really understanding things from the viewpoint of the customer. What that really means is not forcing customers to operate on the processes we have already put in place. We need to operate on the processes of the customer. A case in point, when my cable goes out at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning and I call to get support, I don't want to be told call during regular business hours Monday through Friday, or I don't want to be told that I want to go to the bank to deposit a check because they won't let me do a mobile check image capture because the amount's too much, and I have to wait between 9 and 4. You're forcing the customer to operate on the processes that you have set up that make it easier for the company. But we need to figure out how to create processes based on what the consumers want. And a lot of that is driven by having a cloud-based strategy because from the back-end standpoint, we have to have the APIs to set up so that way you can pull in the data, pull in the content, curate the right experience, and you want to be able to remain relevant in that way. That, at the end of the day, that's what really we need to do with our customers. So on that note, I'll wrap this up. And thank you very much. If you want any more tchotchkes, I have some in my pockets.